Hello, very good day to you. If you've not already had some rain, chances are you will get some later on today. There's plenty of wet weather around, and if we look at the earlier satellite imagery, we can see there's a lot of cloud that's coming in from the southwest. Now, this is in association with an area of low pressure out in the Atlantic. Technically, this has been named Storm Claudia by the Spanish Met Service because it is going to bring some heavy thundery rain, large hail across parts of western Spain and Portugal. But for the UK, yes, it is going to bring some wet and windy weather, but we're not talking a storm. Notice the frontal structure that we have pushing in. So a warm front followed by a cold front, and in between we have something called a warm sector, and that does what it says on the tin and will play a pivotal role in the temperatures that we're going to see through the next 24 hours or so. But we're also seeing plenty of rain with that frontal structure that's making its way in. So that warm front bringing plenty of wet weather across parts of northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland as we go through today. Meanwhile, that cold front then pushes in across parts of Wales and southwest England. We do have a number of warnings in force, one for parts of southwest Scotland, another for much of Northern Ireland, and then warnings for South Wales and also southwest England. Rainfall totals will be building up as we go through today and into tomorrow, and so some travel disruptions quite likely, also a bit of flooding in places too. And we need to factor in there will be some strong winds mixed in with the rain, gales maybe even a little bit stronger than that in exposed spots, so it is going to be wet and it is going to be windy too for some of us. For the time being, as we go through large chunks of today, actually the far north of Scotland staying largely fine, and central eastern England also largely dry, albeit one or two spots of rain can't be ruled out. Now, I mentioned that warm sector where we're stuck in between that warm front and that cold front. Here across much of the country, temperatures are well above average for the time of year, significantly so. We're looking at highs in the mid-teens, 15, 16 Celsius for some places, but worth noting across the far north of Scotland, ahead of that warm front, well, it is going to be pretty cold here. Temperatures markedly lower than across the rest of the UK. Then as we go through this evening and overnight, like I said, you will see some rain if you haven't already, because that rain across Scotland pushes its way northwards, reaching the Northern Isles as we go through around midnight time. Meanwhile, the rain sweeps its way eastwards across England as well, and so most places will see a bit of wet weather at times through the next 18 hours or so. However, we do also get a drier, clearer slot across parts of Northern Ireland, Northern England and central and eastern Scotland as we go through the night, as that rain pushes northwards and also eastwards. And where we get the clear skies, temperatures could drop a little bit. We still have that slightly milder air around, and so as a result, we're only looking at rural spots getting into low single figures, towns and cities generally holding up in high single figures or low double digits. But actually across the south, where we have that cloud and the rain and that even milder air, well, temperatures for some will stay around 13, 14 Celsius, so a particularly mild start to the day on Wednesday, considering it is what, early, mid-November at the moment? Yeah, it's mid-November, isn't it? Anyway, as we go through Wednesday itself, we end up with a situation where we have two zones of wet weather, one towards the north and one towards the south, and then something drier and brighter in between. And through the day, those two areas of wet weather, they kind of sandwich together, squeezing this dry, brighter zone and making it increasingly small. So whilst there will be a decent amount of fine weather across parts of northern England, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland for a time, we are going to see rain spilling its way across again parts of Wales and across the Midlands, having started off across the south, and some wet weather pushing its way further south across parts of Scotland too. Now, as that rain across parts of England and Wales feeds its way further northwards, there will actually be something a bit drier, brighter developing towards the southeast. And with this mild, warm air that we have across us at the moment, this is going to lead to temperatures rising again, a reasonable chance of 15, 16 Celsius towards the south and southeast, and so feeling pretty warm if you do get any of that sunshine. Elsewhere, temperatures are still above average for the time of year, but all the while, you know, if it's raining, if you have some strong gusty winds around, well, it's not going to feel particularly warm. And also across the far north of Scotland, we have northerly winds piling its way in here, and so a chilly feel for sure. As we go later on this week, and Thursday's a bit of a mixed bag, there will actually be some fine weather across some central parts, some decent dry sunny weather to be had. Meanwhile, a bit of rain across some northern areas, a bit of rain in the south, a bit of a mix. But as we go through Friday, that's when we sort of get a north-south divide. In the north it's looking pretty cold, but often dry, though a few wintry showers, some sleet, some snow showers quite likely, particularly over higher ground. Meanwhile, further south, a wetter picture on Friday, but with that it's going to be mild, albeit some very strong wind, or some strong winds to watch out for as well. Of course, we'll have more details as to what we can expect through the end of the week, well, through this weekend, and as well as that, Aidan will be bringing you our deep dive this week. Make sure you check that out as he has some funky new graphics to show you. Bye-bye.